Multiple waves of Arctic air are about to slam into the United States. And I'm not talking about one cold snap. I'm talking about back-to-back-to-back blasts of frigid temperatures that will transform the entire eastern half of America into a deep freeze for weeks. Right now, while millions of families are settling back into their routines after Christmas, a powerful winter pattern is rapidly developing that most people have absolutely no idea is coming. In just a few minutes, I'm going to reveal the exact timeline when each Arctic wave hits your region. Later in this forecast, you'll discover which specific areas could see the most dangerous conditions over the next 72 hours. And before we're done here today, I'll share what meteorologists are calling the most significant winter pattern shift in several years. I promise you this information could help you prepare and potentially save your life. But first, here's a number that should get your attention right now. 976 millibars. That's the pressure reading of the massive low pressure system currently hammering Quebec, Canada, as I speak to you on this Monday, December 29th. Remember, the lower the number, the stronger the storm. And this is a very strong one. Strong enough to drive heavy snow, dangerous ice, and life-threatening conditions across multiple states. Let me paint you a picture of something remarkable that happened yesterday. We witnessed some of the most dramatic temperature contrasts I've seen in my career. While families in eastern Illinois and Indiana were enjoying 70-degree weather, that's right, 70 degrees, parts of North Dakota were experiencing wind chills plummeting to minus 20. All happening at the exact same time across our continent. To give you an idea of how extreme this Arctic front was, St. Louis reached 75 degrees yesterday afternoon, while just across the state in Kansas City, Missouri, temperatures had already crashed into the 20s. That's a 50-degree difference within the same state. Now you might be thinking, that sounds impressive, but not too unusual. But let me tell you something. This is just the opening act. Stay with me because what's developing right now is not just one weather event. It's a pattern shift, a fundamental change in how our atmosphere is behaving, and it's going to dominate the weather across most of America for the next 2 to 3 weeks. This isn't random weather chaos. It's part of something much bigger that's unfolding across our entire continent. As Scripture reminds us in Psalm 147, God gives snow like wool and scatters frost like ashes. We're witnessing the awesome power of His creation as this weather pattern unfolds with precision and purpose across our land. The same Creator who established the seasons is orchestrating atmospheric forces that humble our modern understanding and demand our immediate attention. Today, that Arctic front has continued its relentless eastward march, bringing sub-zero wind chills to the upper Midwest with minus 20-degree readings at midday. But here's where this story becomes particularly significant for millions of American families. The winter storm system that delivered snow overnight has set the stage for what's coming next. If you woke up this morning in the Chicagoland area, Milwaukee, or Des Moines, you probably found fresh snow covering the ground. But what's developing right now will have far greater impact than what we saw overnight. I'm looking at impressive lake-effect snow bands moving across Michigan as I speak, and these will continue strengthening throughout the afternoon and evening. Here's what you need to understand about what's happening. The combination of bitter Arctic air moving over the relatively warm Great Lakes is creating perfect conditions for what meteorologists call sustained lake-effect snow events. Those distinctive snow fingers extending off the lakes. These are snow squalls and snow bands that are taking hold across the region and will persist for days. Buffalo, New York, Erie, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio, and Watertown, New York. If you live in these areas, you need to be prepared for what could be a significant and prolonged lake effect snow event. This isn't a quick-moving system that passes through overnight. We're talking about a persistent pattern that will impact travel, work, and daily activities for multiple days. Now here comes the critical timeline information I promised you. As we move into Tuesday, December 30th, those northwesterly winds will continue blowing over the relatively warmer lake waters, creating the cloud cover and persistent snow showers that will continue throughout Tuesday across all traditional lake effect zones. Even into Wednesday morning, that's New Year's Eve, the lake effect snow will continue across the Great Lakes region. Picture this scenario. You're planning New Year's celebrations, maybe driving to a party or having family visit. Suddenly, you encounter snow bands so intense that visibility drops to near zero within minutes. Emergency vehicles can't reach accidents because they're dealing with the same conditions that trapped you. Across the Great Lakes region, we could see several areas receiving 12 to 18 additional inches of snow, with locally higher amounts exceeding 18 inches possible in the most favored lake effect zones. Now, you might think 12 to 18 inches doesn't sound catastrophic, but let me tell you something about lake effect snow. It doesn't fall evenly. You can be driving on a clear highway and within 5 miles encounter 2 feet of snow that's been dumped in just a few hours. GPS systems can't warn you about these rapidly changing conditions. Your traditional lake effect snow areas, Marquette, Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan, Cleveland, Erie, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, New York, and Watertown, New York, these are where we typically see those persistent snow bands develop, and that's where the heaviest accumulations will occur. Meanwhile, up in Quebec, Canada, where that strong 976 millibar low pressure system is located, we could see an additional foot of snow from today into Tuesday. Snow removal operations will be working around the clock, but here's what concerns me most. This is just the first wave of what's coming. I need to address a serious and often overlooked danger developing across Maine and parts of northern New England. Ice accumulation continues building across the state, and we could potentially see another 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of additional ice formation. Now, you might think that doesn't sound like much, but let me explain why this should concern you deeply. 1/8 of an inch of ice is enough to make roads deadly. 1/4 inch, that's enough to snap power lines and bring down trees. We're talking about tens of thousands of homes potentially losing power in the middle of winter with Arctic air moving in behind these storms. If you're living in Maine or planning to travel through New England, these conditions will create extremely hazardous travel during afternoon and evening commute times. But here's something that makes this particularly dangerous: the winds. We're seeing wind gusts over the lakes reaching 50 to 60 miles per hour at times. This isn't just creating dangerous travel conditions, it's turning the snow into what I can only describe as a flying, blinding, suffocating wall of white. The snow is cold, fluffy, dry, and powdery, which means it's moving around very easily with these powerful winds. Let me break down exactly what this means for major metropolitan areas, because what's coming will affect millions of families across multiple states. Starting with the Great Lakes region, Detroit and Grand Rapids, Michigan should prepare for continued lake effect snow bands with accumulations of 8 to 14 inches possible through Wednesday, with the highest amounts in areas directly downwind of Lake Michigan. Cleveland, Ohio, and nearby Akron face similar conditions with 10 to 16 inches possible, particularly in areas east and south of the city, where lake effect enhancement creates the most dangerous driving conditions. Toledo, Ohio will see lighter amounts, generally 4 to 8 inches, but still significant enough to create major travel disruptions during peak travel times. Here's where it gets really concerning for families across western New York. Buffalo and surrounding areas, including Watertown, could experience some of the heaviest totals, with 15 to 24 inches possible through Wednesday morning. Rochester and Syracuse should prepare for 8 to 16 inches, with the higher amounts in areas most favored for continuous lake effect snow development. Now here's the revelation I've been building toward. What meteorologists are calling the most significant development. What we're experiencing this week is just the first wave of what appears to be a sustained cold pattern that could dominate weather across the eastern United States for weeks to come. We haven't seen a pattern like this in several years. Around New Year's Eve, we get hit with another blast of cold, then another one in the first week of January. Back to back to back Arctic shots, each one reinforcing the cold, each one making it harder for temperatures to recover. Meteorologists call this a sustained cold pattern. It's when the jet stream locks into a configuration that keeps funneling cold air south from Canada, wave after wave, week after week. When these patterns develop, they tend to persist for 2 to 4 weeks before breaking down. What does this mean for you and your family? It means winter is here, really here. Not the mild back and forth winter we often experience, but genuine, sustained winter cold that will test every aspect of our preparation and community resilience.
Moving to the Midwest, where millions of families are feeling the effects right now. Chicago and surrounding Chicagoland areas received their snow overnight and should see conditions improving today, but residents need to remain prepared for occasional snow showers and continued bitter cold with wind chills well below zero throughout the week. Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin will see similar conditions with occasional lake-effect snow possible, particularly in areas near Lake Michigan. Green Bay should prepare for 3 to 6 inches of additional accumulation as northwesterly winds continue over Lake Michigan, creating ongoing travel challenges for anyone venturing out. Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, are experiencing the brutal cold side of this pattern with those minus 20-degree wind chills I mentioned earlier. While snow amounts will be lighter, generally 2 to 4 inches, the extreme cold creates significant challenges for any outdoor activities and puts enormous stress on heating systems across the region. Des Moines and Cedar Rapids, Iowa, should see conditions gradually improving after receiving snow overnight, but temperatures will remain well below normal, with wind chills creating dangerous conditions for anyone spending extended time outdoors. This is when community care becomes absolutely essential for protecting vulnerable neighbors. Now let's look at the Northeast, where this pattern will bring significant and sustained impacts. Boston and surrounding areas of Massachusetts should prepare for 4 to 8 inches of snow as this system moves through, with the most likely timing during Tuesday afternoon and evening hours, when commuter traffic will be heaviest. Hartford, Connecticut and New Haven could see 6 to 10 inches, while Springfield, Massachusetts might receive 8 to 12 inches due to elevation enhancement in the Connecticut River Valley. These amounts will significantly impact travel during what's typically the busiest post-holiday travel period of the year. New York City and the surrounding metropolitan area, including Newark, New Jersey, and White Plains, New York, should expect 3 to 7 inches with this storm system. The exact amounts will depend on the storm's track as it moves offshore, but even moderate amounts will create major disruptions during rush hour traffic periods. Philadelphia and surrounding areas of southeastern Pennsylvania should prepare for 2 to 5 inches, while Allentown and Reading could see 4 to 8 inches due to their location in the Lehigh Valley, where elevation often enhances snowfall totals during these types of storm systems. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Richmond, Virginia will likely see minimal snow from this particular system. But here's what should concern every family in these areas. The Arctic air behind it will bring the coldest temperatures so far this winter season, with morning lows potentially reaching the teens, even in the nation's capital. Moving south, where millions of families will feel the dramatic temperature whiplash, Nashville, Tennessee, and Louisville, Kentucky will experience bitter cold but minimal snow from this system. However, temperatures will drop dramatically from the unusually warm readings we saw over Christmas weekend. We're talking about 40 to 50 degree temperature drops within 24 hours. Atlanta, Georgia, and Birmingham, Alabama will feel the full effects of this Arctic blast, with temperatures dropping 30 to 40 degrees from recent highs. While snow isn't expected with this system, the rapid temperature change will create challenges for agriculture, outdoor workers, and anyone unprepared for genuine winter conditions. Even as far south as Jacksonville, Florida, and parts of the Florida Peninsula could see temperatures drop into the 30s and 40s, a dramatic change from the warm conditions that have dominated much of the Southeast through the Christmas holiday period. This is when heating systems that haven't been tested all season suddenly face their biggest challenge. Now let me explain something critical that many people overlook during these Arctic blasts: lake effect snow. After each Arctic blast moves through, the Great Lakes become snow machines. Here's how it works and why you need to understand this process. Cold air moves over the relatively warmer lake water. The air picks up moisture from the lake and dumps it as snow on the downwind shores. Buffalo knows this pattern intimately. You can get feet of snow in just hours when the lake effect machine gets cranking. And with multiple Arctic blasts coming, we're going to see multiple rounds of lake effect snow. Sunday and Monday, after our current storm, lake effect fires up. Then again after the New Year's Eve blast. Then again after the first week of January Arctic shot. Picture this scenario that will play out hundreds of times over the next few weeks. You're driving on what appears to be a clear highway, perhaps heading to work or visiting family. Within a matter of miles, you encounter a lake effect snow band so intense that visibility drops to zero. You can't see the car in front of you. You can't see the road. Emergency vehicles can't reach you because they're dealing with the same whiteout conditions. In Genesis, God established seasons, summer and winter, seed time and harvest. There's a natural rhythm to the year, a cycle that sustains life. Winter serves a purpose. It kills pests and diseases. It allows the land to rest. It builds snowpack in mountains that provides water through summer. But winter also tests us. It reminds us of our vulnerability. It teaches us to prepare, to plan ahead, to rely on community. This winter is teaching us those lessons early. The snow that's falling across the Great Lakes today serves important purposes in God's creation. Replenishing water supplies for the spring growing season, providing insulation for plant life through the coldest months, and maintaining the natural cycles that sustain life. But here's what this pattern means for the broader winter outlook and why meteorologists are calling this setup exceptionally active. Looking at the long-range weather patterns, we're tracking what forecasters call blocking patterns developing across the Arctic and North America. These patterns tend to lock cold air in place and create multiple opportunities for storm development over extended periods. As we move into the second week of January, the pattern shows potential for some moderation across parts of the central United States. However, cold air will continue building across western Canada, setting the stage for additional Arctic outbreaks as we progress through the month. This is like a massive atmospheric battery charging up for multiple releases. The third week of January, from approximately the 15th through the 22nd, shows high pressure building across the eastern United States, with lower pressure developing across portions of the Southwest. This type of pattern historically creates perfect opportunities for significant storm systems to develop and track through the Ohio Valley and Northeast. But here's where this becomes particularly concerning from a meteorological perspective. The last week of January, from the 23rd through the 31st, shows what forecasters are calling a very stormy look, with blocking high pressure near Greenland and Alaska, creating active storm tracks downstream that could affect millions of Americans. This pattern historically favors the development of significant winter storms affecting the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. Exactly the regions that typically see the most impactful winter weather during sustained cold patterns. We could see heavy snow become common across these traditional winter weather zones throughout late January. For the Ohio Valley specifically, including cities like Columbus, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Louisville, the pattern suggests increased opportunities for winter weather as we move through the latter half of January. Even some southern areas could see occasional winter weather threats during this exceptionally active period. What this means practically for American families is that winter 2025 to 2026 appears likely to be more consistently active than what many regions experienced in recent years. Higher heating bills, more frequent school delays and closures, increased travel challenges, and greater demands on snow removal equipment should all be expected and planned for. From a preparation standpoint, now is an excellent time to ensure your home heating systems are functioning properly, emergency supplies are stocked, and winter vehicle preparations are complete. The pattern ahead suggests multiple opportunities for weather-related disruptions that could last for days at a time over the coming weeks. Let me address the specific travel concerns for the remainder of this week.
because timing your travel could literally be the difference between a safe trip and a dangerous situation. Tuesday, December 30th, will be challenging across all lake effect snow zones, particularly during afternoon and evening hours when snow bands could reduce visibility to near zero in some areas within minutes. Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, presents particular challenges for anyone planning celebrations or travel. Lake effect snow will continue across the Great Lakes, while ice remains a serious concern across Maine and parts of northern New England. Is that celebration really worth the risk to your family's safety?
For New Year's Day and the first weekend of January, bitter cold will be the primary concern across much of the eastern United States. Wind chills could reach dangerous levels across the upper Midwest, making any prolonged outdoor exposure potentially life-threatening for anyone caught unprepared. Here's some practical wisdom for navigating this winter weather pattern safely and effectively. First, avoid unnecessary travel during active snow periods, particularly in lake effect zones where conditions can deteriorate rapidly and vary dramatically over short distances. Your local grocery store trip can wait. Your family's safety cannot.
Second, ensure your vehicles are equipped with emergency supplies, including military-grade blankets, water, non-perishable food, flashlights, and basic tools. Winter weather can create situations where help may be delayed for hours, making personal preparedness absolutely essential for survival. Third, check on elderly neighbors and family members, especially those who may have health conditions that make them more vulnerable to cold temperatures or power outages. Community care becomes particularly important during extended periods of challenging weather, when isolation can become deadly. Fourth, prepare your homes for potential power outages by having backup heating sources that are safe and properly ventilated, battery-powered radios for emergency information, and adequate food and water supplies for several days. When ice brings down power lines, restoration can take days in remote areas. Fifth, stay informed about rapidly changing conditions in your area through reliable weather sources, and be prepared to adjust travel and activity plans based on current conditions rather than outdated forecasts. Lake effect snow bands can develop and dissipate within hours, creating dramatically different conditions within short distances. As we face this active winter weather pattern, let's remember that challenging seasons often bring out the best in our communities. Winter storms have a way of reminding us how much we depend on each other and how important it is to be prepared to help our neighbors when they need us most. There's something beautiful about how communities come together during winter storms. Neighbors helping neighbors dig out driveways, sharing generators during power outages, checking on each other's well-being during the coldest days, opening homes to those without heat. These acts of kindness reflect the character that emerges when we face challenges together. Even the bitter cold that follows these storm systems serves ecological purposes, helping to control pest populations and diseases that threaten agriculture and human health. Winter's challenges are part of a larger design that maintains the delicate balance of life itself, teaching us lessons about preparation, community, and dependence on forces greater than ourselves. As we look ahead to the potentially active weather pattern developing for the rest of January, let's approach it with both practical preparation and trust in the natural order that governs our seasons. Preparation demonstrates wisdom, while helping others reflects the community spirit that strengthens us all during challenging times. Here's your specific forecast summary for major travel corridors over the next 72 hours, because knowing these details could save your life. Interstate 75 from Detroit to Toledo will face challenging conditions Tuesday and Wednesday, with reduced visibility and snow-covered roads during peak travel times when millions of families will be on the highways. Interstate 90 from Cleveland through Buffalo and into Albany will experience significant snow accumulations and strong winds, creating particularly hazardous conditions for high-profile vehicles and inexperienced winter drivers who underestimate the dangers of lake effect snow bands. Interstate 80 across northern Pennsylvania and into New Jersey will see moderate snow accumulations Tuesday evening and Wednesday, with conditions improving from west to east as the storm system moves offshore. But even moderate amounts can create major delays during peak travel periods.
Interstate 95 from Boston south to Washington will experience varying conditions, with the heaviest impacts across Massachusetts and Connecticut, while areas south of New York City see primarily dangerous cold temperatures rather than significant snow accumulation.
For air travel, major airports in Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, and Boston should expect delays and potential cancellations Tuesday and Wednesday due to snow accumulation and reduced visibility conditions during active snow periods. Alternative travel plans should be considered for anyone with critical travel needs.
The economic impacts of this extended winter weather pattern will extend far beyond just snow removal and heating cost. Transportation delays will affect supply chains nationwide. School closures will impact working families across multiple states, and increased energy demand can strain utility systems during peak cold periods. However, active winter weather also provides benefits to our economy and environment. Ski resorts and winter recreation businesses benefit from consistent snow cover, while adequate snowpack ensures water supplies for agriculture and hydroelectric power generation throughout the growing season ahead. For farmers and agricultural communities, the snow cover and cold temperatures we're experiencing help ensure that soil temperatures remain stable and pest populations are controlled naturally, setting up better conditions for spring planting and successful growing seasons. As we move through this winter weather pattern, construction and outdoor work industries will face significant challenges. But proper planning and safety procedures can minimize disruptions while keeping workers safe during the most challenging conditions that will persist for weeks. Transportation companies and logistics networks are adapting their operations to account for the extended winter weather pattern ahead, with many implementing enhanced tracking systems and alternative routing to maintain service levels during multiple storm periods. Healthcare systems across all affected regions are preparing for typical winter weather challenges. Increased accidents due to dangerous travel conditions, higher rates of cold-related health issues, and potential delays for non-emergency services during the most severe weather events. Emergency management officials across the Great Lakes and Northeast are coordinating resources and communication systems to ensure effective response capabilities during what appears to be multiple winter weather events that could occur over the coming weeks and potentially into February. School districts throughout all affected regions are reviewing their closure and delay policies to ensure student safety while minimizing educational disruptions during what appears to be a more active and sustained winter weather pattern than many areas have experienced in recent years. As we approach the final portion of today's comprehensive forecast, let me emphasize the importance of staying flexible with your plans over the next few weeks. Winter weather can be unpredictable in its exact timing and intensity, making adaptability essential for staying safe during extended active periods. The key to successfully navigating sustained winter weather patterns is preparation, combined with good judgment about when conditions warrant changing or canceling travel plans. No schedule, no commitment, no tradition is worth risking your safety or the safety of your family members during dangerous conditions. Monitor local weather conditions and official advisories from the National Weather Service continuously, which provides the most reliable and up-to-date information for making informed decisions about travel and outdoor activities during rapidly changing winter storm conditions. Remember that winter weather conditions can change rapidly, particularly in lake-effect snow zones where intense bands can develop and dissipate quickly, creating dramatically different conditions within just a few miles that can trap unsuspecting travelers in dangerous situations. As this winter weather pattern continues to develop over the coming weeks, we'll continue monitoring the situation and providing updates on the evolving conditions and their potential impacts across all affected regions. The pattern we're tracking for late January could bring additional significant winter weather to many of these same areas. This sustained cold pattern we're entering represents something we haven't seen in several years, the kind of winter our grandparents would have recognized and respected. When these patterns lock in, they tend to persist, creating weeks of challenging conditions that test our preparation and community bonds. Winter serves important purposes in the natural cycles that sustain life, and facing its challenges with preparation and community support allows us to experience its benefits while minimizing risks to our daily lives and safety. Through it all, remember that God is with you. He walks with you through every storm.
He provides strength for every challenge.
Winter serves a purpose in God's creation. It's part of the natural cycle that sustains life. But it also tests us, teaches us, shapes us. Face this winter with wisdom and faith. Prepare practically while trusting spiritually.
Stay informed about changing conditions. Stay prepared with appropriate supplies and equipment.
Stay connected with neighbors who might need assistance. And stay safe by making wise decisions about travel and outdoor activities during what promises to be an active and challenging period.
This is what's ahead. This is what's coming.
Prepare your home, prepare your vehicle, prepare your family, adjust your travel plans, check on vulnerable people, store water and supplies, have backup heating plans, and know that every storm eventually passes.
The cold will break, the snow will melt,
life will renew. But for now, winter is here. Respect its power. Prepare for its challenges and trust that you have what you need to get through it with wisdom, preparation, and community support.
Until our next weather update, stay warm, stay safe, stay informed about changing conditions, and may you find opportunities to help others who might need assistance during these challenging but temporary weather conditions. Weather never stops, and neither do we.
God bless you and keep you safe through these storms. Be wise in your preparations, be kind in your interactions, be faithful in your trust. Face this winter weather pattern with preparation, with faith, with love for others, and with confidence that spring will come again.
As we close today's comprehensive winter weather outlook, remember that every winter storm eventually passes, every cold snap eventually moderates, and spring always returns with new growth and renewed life across our land. Stay informed, stay prepared, stay connected to your community and your Creator. Thank you for staying with me through this detailed forecast. Continue monitoring reliable weather sources as conditions evolve, and remember that preparation and community support are our best tools for safely navigating whatever winter weather challenges lie ahead in the coming weeks.